Hi, this is Jeff Zeig, and I'm in the boardroom of the Milton Erickson Foundation in Phoenix, Arizona with another 5-minute tip. This has been a sequence of 4 previous steps to get us to this additional step in developing a ubiquitous and overall model of how to do psychotherapy. The first 4 steps have been doing. How do you establish a goal? How do you gift wrap? How do you tailor? How do you create a process that can make a tailored and gift wrap goal come alive? All of those things can be learned from a book. There are books on different gift wrapping techniques. Probably there are books about how to tailor something to the uniqueness of the individual. There are ways in which you can learn cognitively about how to do strategic development, how you can do goal setting. But that is not enough for accomplishing psychotherapy in an effective way with clients. The first 4 steps, the goals, the gift wrapping, the tailoring, and the process, answer a meta question: how do you do psychotherapy? But there's a bigger question, and that bigger question is, who will you be as a therapist? So that cannot be learned from a book. Being a psychotherapist, how you will be, is something that needs to be learned with a mentor, something that needs to be learned by deliberate practice with somebody who can guide you. What is it that you bring to the psychotherapy room? Your inquisitiveness, your curiosity, your passion, your motivation, your speed, your humanism, your understanding. And each of us as therapists has ways of being, states that we inhabit. This is a model of thinking about states. If you wake up tomorrow morning and you decide, oh my gosh, it's a beautiful day at home, I think I will try to replicate the states that made Milton Erickson who he was. Okay, what were those states? Well, one of those states was being experiential. Erickson was not didactic, he was experiential. One of those states was using multiple level communication. One of the states that Erickson inhabited was orienting towards. One of the states that Erickson inhabited was utilization. And when we can begin to take Erickson and divide him into states, then we can begin to think, how can I try on some of those states and see if those states are fitting for me? The best way of doing that is a way that's similar to the way in which actors are trained. They're trained by virtue of having exercises. There's a book that I wrote called Psychoaerobics. And psychoaerobics is a series of techniques that are based on the model in which actors learn to be actors. And it is a sequenced development about states that, for example, a generic therapist would benefit from being in, and states that Milton Erickson would, that I could see when I looked at Milton Erickson, states that he inhabited. Those exercises have to be practiced in the same way that a musician would play scales. Even an accomplished musician practices over and over again. When I saw Erickson, for example, with the state of utilization, this was something that he practiced. He stayed toned. He was consistently utilizing whatever was available in the immediate situation to advance his own pleasure and or to advance the therapy. So from the Erickson Foundation, you can get the book Psychoaerobics and begin to think about what are the ideal states. Now, when a client comes in, the client is in an unadaptive state. They're withdrawn, they're unmotivated, they're not responsive, they're not responsible. And part of the joy, part of the job of psychotherapy is helping people to get into adaptive states. In order to do that, therapists need to have the flexibility to enter adaptive states. When Freud started psychotherapy, and analytic tradition predominated the first 60 years of psychotherapy, the therapist had to be invariant. You weren't going to stimulate transference if the therapist was capable of changing states myriad times. But as psychotherapy developed, We don't need to focus solely on transference and have an invariant therapist. The therapist can be an active participant, and the flexibility of the therapist in being able to enter into adaptive states encourages the client similarly. This is Jeff Zeig. Thank you so much. Another 5-minute video.